Imagine migrating to a different country, working 7 days a week, juggling a full time job, shifts at Mecca, and building your makeup business on the side, all while living in one of the smallest, most isolated markets in Australia, Darwin. Feeling stuck, questioning if it's all going to pay off, but knowing you are meant for something more, something bigger, and refusing to give up on that. That's Archie. Fast forward to now, working for TV, getting published in Vogue, booking interstate weddings from across the country, flying out for destination brides, stepping into spaces like Melbourne Fashion Festival, being part of high level weddings and masterclasses, confidently raising her prices and building real momentum both in her business and online. Visible growth, real momentum, and now with the right tools and techniques to sustain. Archie is only getting started. I would love to welcome Archie, who is joining us today in Melbourne from Darwin. Welcome, Archie.
Thank you, Rubia. Thanks for having me here on your podcast. You wrote my intro so well. You encapsulated my story in utmost detail, and it is really surreal from meeting you for the first time at the masterclass you had, having you as my mentor, and now sitting across you. It's crazy.
I remember meeting you for the first time and all the emotions you shared with me. Did you ever imagine doing this with me in future?
I think when I met you for the first time, it was a very empowering experience, emotional. I think we nearly, I cried and then you had a tear as well, purely because I love to see women from my background do well. And also, an insight into what is possible for me as well.
So that makes you feel seen.
Yeah.
So you migrated to Australia. Can you share, when that happened and how did your early days look like?
So I migrated to Australia, to Melbourne, at the age of 21. I actually came over to study my master's in accounting from RMIT University. My first 6 months were it was like a roller coaster ride. I was experiencing freedom in a very different way for the first time, but also finding my feet and who I am as a person, because back in India, I was living with my parents and I had a lot of support. Suddenly, I did not have any of that. I remember arriving in my first accommodation and putting my bags down and calling my mum and bursting into tears, because you suddenly have this rush of loneliness that you realize that your life's going to change in a moment. I didn't know. I tell this story to a lot of people. I didn't know what Coles or Woolies was and how to take trams. So it was like relearning life all over again.
How did you find your feet? What did you do? Did you ever plan to become a makeup artist when you moved to Australia?
I had no plans to become a makeup artist. I honestly didn't even know that this career could be for me. My sole focus when I arrived was getting through my master's, and I've always been a very ambitious person and at the same time a bit of a rebel. Like, if I decide something that I need to get this done and achieve it, I will do it by hook or crook. It sits in my system, and I can't sit until it's ticked off my list. So my agenda back then was getting good grades, because I just wanted good grades and perform well, because it took a lot of investment from my parents to send me here. And master's degrees are not cheap. They're like 90 grand when you come over as an international student. So doing well was extremely important, but also working at the same time, supporting my expenses, my tuition fee as much as possible, thinking about permanent residency. So there was a list that needs to be checked off. And that's a story that a lot of immigrants live through, and it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I always had blinkers on, that this is what I need to do.
When did you think that, okay, makeup is something that I can make a career out? When you started, pricing looked like for you? How did you navigate through all of that?
I was always really good with arts. As a kid, I used to draw a lot. I used to be a great dancer, but I kind of shut down the creative side of me because the environment just didn't allow or let me allow to see creatives as a career, because we often, especially in South Asian environments, we're taught that being a doctor, engineer, or an accountant is the way to go, and I became one. And I did not even have that kind of exposure. Neither did my parents. They did the best to help us start a living on our own. Yeah, makeup wasn't something that was on top of my mind, but I was always good at it when I did it on myself and when I did it on my friends and family. And I remember my cousin commenting at my wedding that I have more brushes than a painter. And I always wanted to do something of my own. And while working through my accounting jobs, I was good at it, but it wasn't something that my soul called for. So it just clicked in that moment.
Coming from those countries, this is not one of the careers that's like, most practiced about.
Or even respected sometimes.
Yeah. Do you think that played a part, never thinking about it, that this could be your career?
Definitely. I mean, back home, beauty spaces, beauty services, or being a makeup artist, at least back then, isn't taken as something that is a respectable job. When I was leaving my accounting career, I had this thought, people are going to question that I have done a master's degree, I'm earning 5 figures, and I'm leaving all of this for a career in makeup. So yeah, definitely influences your decision making, especially when as a young kid, you don't know how to make your own choices and you don't know what is wrong or right for you.
So when you were in this new career, like, everything is new, you are in a different country, how did the struggles look like for you?
The struggles, there were so many as a migrant, especially not having your family and friends around you to support you emotionally through everyday life, when everyday life is a challenge. The pressure of earning your next dollar to pay the rent. I remember during COVID I was in my last 6 months of my master's degree, and COVID hit, and I had to move my houses because I didn't have a job, because all the jobs were, shut down. I had to withdraw my last $1,000 of my super to put towards my rent, and I had to move in with a 1-bedroom apartment with 3 other girls that I was sharing. So struggles had different faces, but yeah, there were many. Like living in country Victoria and country New South Wales by myself for 2 years. I was living in the most remote places. I was lucky to find really good people around me, but not having your parents at that age or friends.
That really affects you.
Yeah, it really affects you emotionally.
Then you became a makeup artist. So how did that feel like? Because you didn't have any prior knowledge. You didn't know anything about the business side of the things. You were good at it, but that was the only thing that you brought into this.
Yeah.
So how did you figure all of that out, or did you just do it with whatever knowledge was available online?
Yeah, so when I thought that this could be a career, my husband really encouraged me to get into a makeup school. And given Darwin is so remote, there was no makeup school around me. So I resorted to something that I could find online. As soon as I started the course, I immediately fell in love with it. And so my focus from that point onwards was just learning, and at a later stage, just having one client at a time and giving my best to them. And over time, building on that experience and that one client, and then from one client to another.
That's beautiful. Like, it's just so encouraging for so many women out there who are moving to different countries and they want to do something new. So, like, when they see women like you doing it, achieving all these big dreams, I hope you're proud of yourself. Even though, like, you were going through those struggles, you didn't know how to price. And I think at some point, your goals became way bigger than what you were doing in that time.
Yeah.
When did it hit you that, okay, there's a huge gap? And when did you realize that I need to join this mentorship to fill that gap?
I was pushing in every direction possible in my business to have more clients and have more bridal bookings and push myself on socials. But I just felt like the needle was not moving. Like I felt like I'm throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks. And then we started talking online around the mentorship. And when I understood the course structure with Bree, your manager, I thought this is something that will actually give me clarity. In the mentorship, I think the biggest clarity was around pricing. So I think we honor the creative side a lot and ignore the other side, which is the business. What we are charging is actually not sustainable. And having that clarity was really helpful.
I would love to know more about how did your business look like without that clarity? Did you feel burned out, or did you not feel fulfilled enough when you were working with your clients?
I think I just felt frustrated. I put in a lot of effort on a daily basis, and I always have, but I did not see that effort translate into clients.
Clients,
Yeah. You know, you're posting online, and posting online takes effort. Posting consistently takes effort. And then if it just doesn't go anywhere, you feel that frustration. And that's where I felt that this just is not working or is going to work. Like, I don't want the guess game. I need to know, how can I take this forward?
And you were unhappy with how you were charging for your services as well?
I think more than unhappy, I didn't know what was possible. I was just looking at what everyone else is charging
Yeah.
and taking that as my standard, even though the standards of services that I provide or the style of makeup that I provide is totally different to others
Yeah.
around me. So I think I did not understand, how do you actually price yourself to start with.
Yeah. So there was no lack of confidence when it came to your talent or your skill set, but you felt really lost about when it came to the business side of the things, how you should be pricing or what is the guide that you should be looking for.
Yeah.
Because I think that is the biggest gap in this industry. We get sent to these academies. We're like, okay, that's how you can do a wing liner. That's how, these are the kind of foundations you should be applying on your clients. But then when it comes to the main goal, which is earning through this service, we are left on our own to figure things out. And I think the narrative around is that you spend years and years, you need to spend 9 or 10 years and be able to be like, okay, I think I should be charging maybe even $200. So how do you feel about those kind of standards in our industry?
When I was studying makeup, I think I studied more around the artistry side of things, but not the business. Mind you, artistry is important. Like, being good at your craft is now a
crucial.
baseline.
Yeah.
You have to be good at it. And then you obviously are improving on it over time.
Yeah.
But being good with your business and understanding how to market yourself, how to interact with your brides or your clients, and having systems in place, none of that is actually talked about.
Or even available, I would
Or
say.
available. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's just not talked about enough or talked about openly enough, and you feel lost because you don't know what's right or wrong.
Yeah. And do you think people try to keep it a secret because it takes them years to figure that out? And when they figure that out, they feel like it's unfair now to just give it away for free, right? Because imagine you spending 10 years trying to figure it out on your own, and then someone new comes along. Do you think you're going to feel the resistance to share that information straight away?
I definitely think there's hesitation in sharing the process and the systems behind, our industry. There are people in my business journey like yourself and amazing other artists who have, very graciously, like yourself, shared the knowledge. But there's also the other side that you don't get access to that information.
So when you realized that this is something you need help with, how did that make you feel? Did you see the light at the end of the journey, or?
Definitely some clarity, that I just felt a sense of relief. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, I'm going to work, which I am doing already, but it will have a little bit more focus and I can achieve the goals that I set myself up for.
Yeah.
So that clarity is quite important, because why do I want to waste 3 years in figuring out how to get there when I can find out a way and get there in a year or even 6 months?
Yeah, I think that's very important. We need to have a sense of urgency. If the information is available and if you have the tools and if you can combine it, why delay the progress?
Yeah.
So when you started your makeup journey and there was no information available for the business side of the things, how did you feel being in Darwin with no information but just with your skill set? Just walk us through that.
So when I started working with my first client, my first question was, how much do I charge for this? I thought, okay, $80 sounds reasonable, so I will charge $80. And then the questions became bigger. I eventually looked at what others are charging around me. So I, priced my services as soft glam and full glam and 120 and 150. That's something so standard across our industry. And and then the challenges turned out like people would book for soft glam, but what is the distinguishing factor between a soft glam and a full glam, and how much do you charge a bride?
And I feel like it gets really awkward because your soft glam could be my full glam, right? And then having those awkward conversations with someone who's already in your chair,
Yeah.
Like now you're not going to ask for them to pay more.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? So
exactly.
it gets really tricky.
It is very tricky. And then you also, over time, discover your style. And then you realize that all the components that probably someone's getting, the beautiful skin and the eyes, it's a set style that you offer for everyone. It's just how someone perceives what is soft and what is full. And
Yeah.
just having, an extra lash or a darker liner does not make it full glam. I
Yeah.
was equally doing all these layers, maybe more, spending more time blending for a traditional soft glam.
Yeah.
So you just come across these challenges that you don't understand how to find a solution for.
Yeah.
Even with brides, if you are talking to a bride, how do you, like the back and forth around the emails, how do you factor in all of that time that's spent into talking to them, making sure that their timeline's looking amazing?
Yeah.
And also, it's such a big energy exchange on the day of the wedding. So how
Yeah.
do you account for all of that? And
Yeah.
what is reasonable for you? And what, more than that, what is sustainable for you in the business long term? Because at the end of the day, it's a
Yeah.
business. You have to earn your living.
Yeah, and I think if we bring it back to the basics, even smallest things, especially for people like, their English is not their first language. And when you have to communicate with your clients, you're like, how do I communicate? Is it going to be extremely formal or casual? And I remember my early days with no knowledge about this industry, and I'm doing these Googles, and there are no templates available for makeup artists. Yes, there are templates for all the other industries, and ChatGPT was
Not prevalent back then.
yeah, we don't even realize the smallest details in the business, they affect your energy so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And day by day, every new challenge, every new problem you have to solve, your energy is going towards that. And there's no blueprint available.
Exactly. And as you said, the smallest details, even on the day of a wedding for a bride, you're managing their emotions.
Yeah.
You're managing how the makeup is going to last. Like you are thinking about the weather. You're thinking about, what are the things that could actually not put her in a good mood, because that's going to affect your makeup at the end of the day, the results that you're providing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it affects your business. It affects the perception of your business and your credibility.
I think it's not like the part of direct service that you're providing, but then it's just as important.
There's so much that goes unnoticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then you were brave enough to navigate through all of that in Darwin.
Yeah. Darwin is a unique place. It's
Yeah.
given me a lot. I started my business there, and I can't believe where it is now in a small city like Darwin. And the peak seasons, June, July, August this year is quite full on for me, which I'm so grateful for. And I'm ready to, give my best to my brides. And I feel like this year I found the most aligned clients I've ever had, and I'm ready to be a part of their big day.
Okay, we need to know more about what does Align look for you. When you joined the program, you were looking for clarity. Was that more so how to structure your prices and how to find those dream clients that we all hear about on Instagram and finding yourself within your brand?
I think clarity starts from basic questions like, who am I here to serve in my business?
Who's your ideal client?
Who's my ideal client? And the deeper you ask that question, you realize there's an archetype to that bride. And clarity for me was, I finally knew that how I can serve those clients that I want to serve and who are they. And then pricing, obviously, pricing is a huge topic in our industry. So I found clarity in that sense as well. But also, how do I manage my day to day, my socials, my admin? Because all of that is overwhelming when you're working as a solo entrepreneur. You're doing it all by yourself.
Person.
Yeah, and a creative person. So also figuring out the balance. And also for me, that it's okay to sometimes rest. I still struggle with it, but understanding and getting that acknowledgement that it's okay for us to rest at the end of the day as well and come back to achieving things the next day.
I would say rest is just as important. Yeah. When you came to me, you were charging like $150 even with the level of talent you had and the refined skill set you had. How much are you making now from a wedding?
My average booking now on a bride looks like around $1,400 to $1,500, where I am serving the bride and a bridal party of 3. Sometimes it's more, when it depends on how many people are added on to that service. And there's another offer that I give to my brides where they can have me for the full day, and I can give them the touch-up service and stay closer to them when they finish their wining and dining, and I can come and touch them up during photographs and all of that. Yeah, huge change.
What does that service look like in terms of pricing?
So that is around $2,300 for me, where they have me around all day and I'm taking care of them. And I love doing that. I feel so fulfilled doing that, that they have this feeling that they've got someone in their corner on their biggest day.
If you did the same number of people in the past, how much would you have made? And now, what's the difference?
It was around $1,000 in the
Okay.
booking, and it's almost the double of that.
Even more. It's now more than double.
More than double.
And of course, you didn't change your skill set. You didn't go and do another makeup course.
Yeah.
It's all happened because of the right strategy.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? And I think it happened so quickly, because if we look at so many other people's businesses and we try to analyze, people are even scared to jump their prices from $50 to $100. It takes them years and years to grow that kind of confidence.
Yeah.
You went and did that within months. And the fact that you were able to even attract those kind of brides into your space, that sounds
It's
like
very
magic.
scary. It's very scary at first when you are raising your prices, because you're like, who's going to book me at that price, especially in a smaller city like Darwin.
Yeah.
But you just have to give it time and patience, and also be able to translate your value in your offers, in the way you communicate, in the way you show up online. When now I meet my brides, when I talk to them, I'm fully present, because I know it's an equal exchange. I'm not depleting myself through that process.
Yeah. We have spoken a lot about your online presence and how you present yourself, how you communicate. So do you think that has played a huge role in attracting the right clientele?
Definitely. Like, showing up online is extremely important. A lot of my opportunities, even meeting yourself and attracting all the opportunities, as you mentioned at the start of the podcast, getting into TV and working through Melbourne Fashion Festival, even my work in digital Vogue, all of that has come through social media. And it's one of the most important components of our operations. And now when I show up online, I know this is doing something. It has a goal, a strategy behind it, not the spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks.
I want to know the feeling when you went from making $1,000 to $2,300 from a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
That must have done something inside you.
When I raised my prices for the first time after completely changing the way I do things, and the bride said yes to me, I was like, what stopped me from doing this all this while? And now every time a bride just says yes on the first meet, it just makes me so happy. It just makes me feel like they really value my skill and my presence and what I bring to them, my makeup style, more than how much it is for. Which is a common question.
Yeah.
Hi, how much is this for? How much is this service for? It's like they really want to work with me, and that is a valuable feeling. That is a precious feeling that they choose you.
I remember you had shared some difficult moments with me. How did those dark days look like, and how was it coming out of them?
Last year, I went through a really difficult phase in my business, and it got to a point where I was very anxious, and almost to a point where I didn't see a purpose of continuing my business as well. I felt really, really lost and depressed. And thankfully, I had my husband and even you as my listening ear in my corner. And something inside of me just kept telling me that this cannot be the end of how much I have built, because I can see the potential. But it's really hard to get out of those moments when you don't even want to wake up the next day. I think you just sometimes need someone in your corner to make you believe that you have a lot of potential, that you've actually built something. We don't give ourselves credit. I think that's a very common...
I think that's something you are still working on.
I'm always working on that. That what you're doing is enough and it holds value.
Yeah.
And you just need people in your corner who can make you see that.
You really need to take a moment to appreciate everything that you have achieved, even if it seems small, right? You are one of those people who are constantly on the go, next thing, what's next for me? What else can I do? and you are very active on social media. Like, you're always thinking about, you never had a problem of showing up online or working for your business. You never made excuses. I think you just needed guidance,
Yeah.
someone that can push you in the right direction and just tell you what to do, and you're going to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. And showing up online is one thing, but showing up online with intention is another. I think now I arrive on the morning of a wedding, I am clear that this woman that I'm serving today has probably cut corners in her life, thinking about others, taking care of her kids, and this is her big day. So I'm here to serve. And you know that as women we're told or taught to not to put everyone in front of us and not invest in our own happiness, or and that can look different to a lot of people, but we don't love ourselves enough. Through makeup, people express themselves, and I've had brides come to me during their trials. They've looked at themselves and they immediately start crying because they see the older self in them before they did put everyone else before them, you know.
Yeah.
And that clarity on the purpose and the people that I'm serving, why am I serving them, has changed me as an artist.
You found a
There's
true
more to
purpose.
makeup.
Yeah. Yeah.
So going through my difficult phase and having people around me who believed in me, and every day just reminding myself through them that I can't just leave this. I can't just abandon whatever I have built, because there are people who believe in my craft. There are clients who have come to me from day one, you know, they need me. Yeah, they need me, they need my service, they value my service. I think that was a really important episode in my life, because since then I am more intentional and focused on my purpose, on
Yeah.
my goals, and recognize the things that I have achieved. I think that was something that was massively missing in me, because
Yeah.
as you said, I was always on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Now, when I book a bride on a daily basis, that feels like a celebration.
Yeah.
Because I'm really looking forward to this bride who just said yes to me on the call, like in one conversation.
Yeah.
And it just feels beautiful.
I think it's about being content with what you're achieving as well.
Yeah.
Not like just brushing it off and on to the next thing. What's
Yeah.
next and what else can I do?
And also around, I think in our industry, because we are all always on our socials, as we have to as part of our operations, we tend to look at what others are doing, and there's this component of comparison. I think for me that has changed massively since that episode, because you're always going to feel that someone's doing better than you.
I think you found your focus.
Exactly.
So now you don't even have time to look right or left, you know.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you're doing and where it's taking you.
Yeah. I think the guesswork is where comparison breeds, because you see what others are doing and how others are doing well, but you don't see beyond the tip of the iceberg, right? Because the clientele that you want to serve is totally different from what they are serving.
Yeah.
You know, and then you don't feel like you're behind, because that's not the path you want to take.
Yeah. So you went from having very dark days where you didn't even feel like, you know, there's a purpose to the life, to now being that confident person who want to show up for the bride's biggest day, you know. What exactly happened in program? What were the tools that gave you so much strength and clarity and, like, you know, confidence that you're like, okay, rather than charging $1,000, I can literally double my price and still find clients?
I think the tools that the biggest one we have that you provided was the one-on-one support on a fortnightly basis. I would have all my questions ready, and I can go through the different circumstances that I come across my business, and that clarity just fastens up the process. You know, the system's in place. Should I have a booking system or should I not? Like, I was in a limbo for the longest time. Should I have a website or should I not? Because there's cost to everything.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out what is the right step, the right next step for you. The next one is, you know, all the online resources that you provided around how to attract brand deals, how to attract the right aligned clients, and even around having a signature style. Like, we think that we need a lot to offer, different variety of looks.
We think
to offer.
we should serve everyone.
We should serve everyone. And again, that goes back to who are you serving?
Yeah.
So having clarity around who are you actually serving. For me, showing up online means I understand my brides. I'm talking to them directly. I don't want to serve 500 people. I want to serve those 10 brides.
Yeah.
and I know what those 10 brides are thinking and how they're feeling and what do they need exactly. Yeah.
Who you are serving, how you are serving them, what you bring to the table.
Yeah. There's one thing around, sitting down in front of a camera and talking and recording.
Yeah.
But what is it actually doing and who is this for?
Yeah. Like, who are you addressing to? Who do you want to attract? Who's your future client? Where your business is going?
Yeah.
I feel like they are very important questions that we need to ask ourselves and lay out in front of us. Because right now, internet is flooded with face to camera videos, this whole personal branding, messages flooded everywhere. But then everyone is feeling more lost than ever.
Yeah.
Because no one actually knows the answer of that, and we are the answer. So you actually got flown for a destination wedding as well.
Yes.
So how did all of that happen?
I think it all goes back to social media. There's so much power to it. And my bride from Kananara, Claire, she's one of my favorite brides I've ever had. She flew me to Kananara, and when we had a first chat, she said yes to me immediately on the phone. That was a moment something cracked open. That this is really possible. I think we all want to do destination weddings across Europe, but that was a big win for me, even though it was just interstate, because, being in
Absolutely.
Darwin, you're so far away from everything. And I can't imagine, a makeup artist out of Darwin getting flown to a different city for someone's wedding. But
Yeah.
they really, in that moment, you feel, oh, they really value your skill. They really see what you bring to the table and
Yeah.
what you can offer them as someone who's going to take care of on their big day.
Yeah, so social media has that kind of power that it can literally break you out of your limited area.
Yeah.
And take you anywhere you want to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes in this industry we think that we are really limited to where we are, and we are really limited to our busy seasons and quieter seasons, and we have to do other services in order to make everything sustainable. But then we have the most powerful tool in our hand. If it's being used right, there's no limit.
Exactly. And that was one of the big questions in my mind. Like, okay, June, July, August is peak season in Darwin. What do I do beyond that? If I want to make this full time and replace my 5-figure salary that I was earning in accounting, how is it even possible if I'm doing this in Darwin? And, when we talked about doing weddings in Melbourne the first time, I had questions in my mind if I can actually make that happen,
Yeah.
But you suggested that it is possible if I just try for it. And
if you position yourself for it, of
Yeah.
course you can make it happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
since then, my bride who flew me to Kananara happened, and I've done 4 weddings in Melbourne already. So, and I've got more coming. So
That's amazing.
it's possible.
Yeah, everything is possible. And you messaged me recently that you were managed to book, I think, 5 weddings
In a week.
in a week.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And with the aligned brides.
With the aligned
your new
brides,
pricing.
people who really want to work with me.
Yeah.
5 weddings in a week is actually a huge win now that I think about it, right?
Yeah.
People want to work with you, and they are booking with you in advance because they don't want to lose out on the right vendor.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I did not think 5 weddings, 5 bookings in a week is even possible.
Yeah,
You
but-
just kind of sit there and wait for it, right? You just kind of sit and think, okay, I will get to the inquiry when it comes. Then
And I remember you bringing this question a lot, that because of where I am, do you think that's limiting my progress? That's limiting my growth? But now you are doing all these big things, booking so many brides, working with dream clients. So that's definitely not a limitation.
yeah, your physical location is not a limitation. You just need to work towards it, and you need people around you. If
Now checking off all these goals,
Yeah.
doesn't feel
I
real.
think about that 21-year-old who was barely making through her daily life sometimes, to now having her own business and doing well and being flown to a different city, I cannot believe it. I didn't think that was possible. To start with, I didn't think makeup as a career was possible. Through all of that, having your work published in digital Vogue, working in big jobs like Melbourne Fashion Festival, like, who would have thought? Like, I can only imagine my younger self sitting on the balcony with my mom trying to do her hair and getting the blow dry stuck in her hair, to now working in Melbourne Fashion Festival. Like,
Such big platforms.
how how is that possible? But I think social media presence and personal branding is key component of all of that coming true.
I would love to get inside your head. What happened during those 6 months when you joined the program and like you navigated through it all? Take us on that emotional roller coaster with you, finding your way and then making out of it so successfully.
When we first started, I felt an immediate relief that, okay, I'm going to have someone who I can talk to about my challenges in the business. And then through each support call and through each module of the online mentorship, it was challenging because you are set in your own ways. You're used to doing things in your own ways. Like for me, even not taking bookings over DMs on Instagram and you guiding me towards doing it over emails was a challenging thought in itself, that I am going to lose out on these bookings because
Because, yeah, you
Darwin
used to
just does
say,
not, yeah, because
yeah.
Darwin just doesn't, I feel like Darwin just does not have that kind of clientele. They want everything easygoing, quick and fast.
You said that, oh no, people like DMs here. No one's gonna book me over emails.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I really thought through what my operations look like, and again, socials. Since the mentorship, my goal of each social media post was, how can I appeal to my bride and what do they need? How do they think? If I'm posting a process video, what is it that is going to click in my bride or my client that they would want to work with me?
Yeah.
So the recent bride that I did in Kananara, when I showed her the mirror, she immediately felt overwhelmed and emotional looking at herself, at her, when she looked at her bridal makeup, and she knew my resume by heart. Like, that is such a compliment in itself. The power of doing what you do as a makeup artist. And, when brides come for their wedding makeup, their trials, and like my bride who I served in Kananara, I think what clicks in me when they look at themselves in their bridal makeup is they feel seen and they feel that this day is theirs. When they get emotional looking at their makeup, you feel like you've done something right because as a woman, you serve everyone around you first.
Yeah.
And not yourself. You cut corners. And it is your big day. You want to get things right. You don't want to look at your photos 20 years from today and feel like, oh my God, I did not feel my best. I did not
Yeah.
feel the most confident. So you want, so when they look at their bridal makeup and they cry out of this immense happiness, you feel like you've done something right. You feel
Yeah.
like you've contributed to their day
You've
massively.
given, you've given
impact their
someone
mood.
lifetime memories.
Yeah, you impact their mood, you impact their photographs, their memories massively.
Yeah. You help them start the day in the most beautiful way.
Yeah.
With your energy, your services, everything.
That energy translates when you show up the way you do, when you are sure in your services and your skills. They feel reassured that, okay,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing and they will take care of us. I don't need another thing on my list to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have found your dream offer and you have found the dream clients. That financial pathway now, how does that make you feel? How has it impacted your personal life?
I feel less miserable to start with.
Yeah.
I think with my offers now, I see more potential. My goalpost has changed. It has grown a lot bigger. My first goal is to, replace my previous 5 figures income fully.
Yeah.
But then I know there's so much more that I can do. Now I'm stepping into education as well and, working with students to teach them makeup artistry.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I can't. So I get to be that person who I needed when I first started to be able to answer those questions.
That's so
And
beautiful, yeah.
that feeling is really good. That from not knowing how to start a makeup business to
Now guiding others.
to guiding others. Yeah, from not knowing how to hold a brush to now guiding others how to build something like this. I keep telling my husband every time we go out that one day I'm going to become a billionaire and he can have half of it. And then he responds that he probably would want all of it. So I think that's my goal, to be able to give him
Your
the
family,
best.
give him the
Give
best.
him the
Yeah.
best. Yeah.
Create that life for your family, for yourself.
Yeah.
What would you advise people who are looking for mentors? What was it specifically that you looked for in a mentor?
I think the number one thing, do you see yourself on the same path as a potential mentor? Are they living that
Dream right
dream
now.
right now? Because they would have the answers for it. Do you align with their style? Do you align with their
Value.
values? And what is your priority
Basically, you need to see your future self in them.
in them? Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And what is your priority? Like, where do you see yourself going? And are they going to be able to guide you through it?
Yeah. So, what would you say to the old version of you? The Archie who's sitting here right now talking about all her beautiful achievements. To the girl who dropped her bag in her room and cried because her mom was not there anymore.
I would tell her that every moment that you experience in your life is preparing you for
What's
today.
to come?
Yeah, for what's to come. I would say surrounding yourself with right people, whether it's fellow artists, mentors, family, and friends, and believe in yourself and in your craft. Get obsessive about improving your craft and nurture the business side of things as well.
For example, how long have you done makeup for?
This is operationally my 4th year.
4th year. So now you would tell your old version to get on the business side of the things from year one.
And there's no maths to it. There are simple things like tracking your leads, following up with them, very simple things, aligning your, really getting clear on the kind of brides you want to serve and your numbers.
Your numbers. I always talk about it. You need to track your numbers.
Yeah.
How much have you made? How much more you want to make? And where all the expenses are going, all of that. And I think you are using your accountant side.
I try to.
The best
my
now.
husband, all of that work, I try to give that to him. But I think when we look at numbers, even though I'm an accountant, it can feel a bit confronting when you look at your numbers, because you can take those as success or failure. And if you are someone like me who's constantly moving their goalpost, it can often just feel like, oh, I didn't tick off this goal.
Never enough.
Yeah. I think that's also where I'm working, and I would advise others to look at the numbers and see what is the gap and how you can fill that, instead of thinking,
doing the
I
guesswork.
did not do this.
Yeah, and doing the guesswork, like investing in your energy in the wrong ways. You don't need to create more posts. First, you need to fix that.
Yeah.
That can help you see more results rather than just posting more.
Exactly. My next goal is expanding my business in Melbourne and other states. That would be my biggest goal.
Yeah.
And slowly positioning myself better as an educator, because I would love to be that person for other upcoming artists and help them in figuring out how can you actually transition from a 9 to 5 into making this a career. That would be my next goal.
That's amazing. And I'm sure that you're going to become the most amazing educator, especially someone who has been through it all. So, you will be the best guide for people who want to do it.
Thank you. You flatter me. I've got you to look up to.
Some stories don't just inspire you, they remind you what's actually possible when you decide to push past your location boundaries. If you're a makeup artist who is confident at her craft but feels lost when it comes to business, then I would love to guide you inside the Rubia Method, where you can dream beyond your city. Thank you.